It was just this Christmas. Things were getting busy. I had to buy presents for the family. I had finished shopping, but I still had to buy a present for my little cousin. Well, she's not hard to shop for, since she's 4. She likes things like Peppa Pig and My Little Pony. Ugh. But she really liked, and I say liked for a reason, Max and Ruby. So when I went looking for a present, I thought something like a Max and Ruby DVD would have been perfect. However, Christmas meant that most of the online DVDs were sold out at most places. I went to look up on eBay as well, but figured I couldn't trust what condition that they would have been in. So I was stuck in a rut for a while, till that package arrived. I was on at home still scrolling for a DVD until I heard the sound of something being pushed into my letterbox. I caught a hold of it before my dog did, and I looked at the package. It seemed to be wrapped very badly. You know that what the grease marks and stains on it. I was a little reluctant to open it, but decided why not now. I get a bite inside was something that I couldn't explain. It was a Max and Ruby DVD, but I hadn't seen one like it online. It was like some little kid had drawn on the front cover with a marker. The title was just Max and Ruby, all capital letters, and what looked poorly drawn illustration of Max and Ruby on the front. Oh great, I thought that about like there. There were no names or anything, but on the back it had a list of 4 episodes, all with blunt titles. Titles episode 1, episode 0001, episode 0002, episode 0003, episode 0004. I was weary about the disc. It was apparent that someone, somehow, they had tracked my browser history while I was searching for a DVD for my cousin and traced it back to my house. After giving it a lot of thought, I figured it wouldn't hurt just to give the DVD a little watch over. The area I live is rather peaceful, but there's a police station about a block away in case anything serious happens. If if I turn out to be a potential stalker or a problem or turn my hands on some sort prank, I could have the cops in my house in a moment. Notice, to my surprise, the episodes were high quality. They seemed to have no flaws. It was as if it was a real DVD with just a homemade cover. The the only thing that was odd was the episode selection screen. The episodes were called Max and Ruby, with the numbers being changed as it went down the list. The actual selection screen was just a plain white screen with black text, and the episode was something else. Why would someone go through all of that struggle to make it so good and then just give it a plain screen? Whatever. I decided to change the cover to something a little nicer by printing out a DVD cover I found on Google and tracked down the names of the episodes. They were properly labeled. I left the episode less screen alone because I figured out it was at least self-explanatory. Christmas went by, things were fine. I gave my little cousin the DVD and she was happy with it throughout Christmas, but that was only because she hadn't watched it yet. Yet on Boxing Day, the family went out and left me to babysit my cousin. I wasn't too bothered about being left home. I figured now it was a good time to put on the DVD for her. I put in the disc and let her play. I was in the kitchen eating my dinner. From what I could hear, she had watched episodes 1, 2, and 3 so far. I was about to finish my noodles when I heard my little cousin screaming from the other room. Dropping everything, I ran into the living room and saw my cousin curled up on the floor screaming. I looked up at the TV and I felt my heart in my throat. When I caught a glimpse of, well, not the most horrifying thing I've ever seen, was pretty darn ghastly, especially for a children's appeared to be in a frame with Max Ruby standing next to each other in total darkness. What made it so horrible wasn't that darkness, but about the lack of faces. They lost their noses and mouths, and their eyes were replaced with big black holes. The colors were myriad, and a black place of dark red in the picture was slightly obscured by static. The sound was replaced by what I assumed was the Max and Ruby theme playing backwards, with a feint of static. In all the next of above picture it said the caption that read, "Debt is our only release." After having gathered quickly the DVD player, I was fortunately able to call my cousin, telling her, oh, it wasn't real, she just had a nightmare. She fell asleep in front of the TV. I was surprised she bought that, but I knew in my mind it was completely real. My parents had me rung and told me that they were going to be out all night, so I was going to be the best opportunity to look at the DVD more closely. I didn't mention to them. As soon as they hung up, I grabbed the disc, stuck it in my laptop. As soon as loaded, I selected Max Ruby 0004. Since my cousin was now asleep, as far as she knew again, I was plugged in my earbuds so she could sleep without having to hear what was going on. Normally, an episode of Max Ruby would have 3 short stories, but this episode had one. Started off quite lighthearted. Max and Ruby were playing tag in the garden, and a pair of older rabbits. I'm going to assume that Max and Ruby's parents were on the porch watching them play. Something was off at first. They never mentioned nor showed Max and Ruby's parents as far as I was aware. That, however, was at the least of my concerns. The sound was messed up, and it looked on the parents' faces suggested that they were forlorn. Pender, the mother said, and father in a voice deep sorrow. The father spoke. Such a shame. It's such a shame. He sighed, then cut short to the sound of static and a loud scream, followed by the sound of 2 people choking. This sounded less like voice actors someone pretended choking. It sounded like the thought was on the actual audio recording of 2 people being choked to death. The steam gun switched to Max Ruby standing in the front, which looks like a gravestone labeled, "Rest in peace, Mommy and Daddy." 2 of them had no faces. At this point there was also no sound apart from the faint static. This scene remained on screen for about a minute and a half before it cut away to black. Then it changed the scene again, now showing Max and Ruby sitting in the room. Both of them were sobbing once more. This sounded more like recording of children actually crying than it did just a fake out. What happened next was probably the most disgusting thing I've witnessed in the whole video. The scene had changed to Max in his room. He was standing on a chair with a noose hanging from the ceiling. He brought it down to his neck. The scent black static on the louder almost insanity. Then it cut to Ruby walking in her brother. The cut to black with loud static when screen returned to Max and Ruby was standing now in her own garden by 2 gravestones. One was labeled "Rip Mommy and Daddy" and the other was labeled "Rest in Peace, Brother." The screen had faded to black afterwards. At this point, I had already been sick. I was sitting. I was shaking, couldn't freak. I wanted to feel this episode had seemed to come in an end at last. As the Max and Ruby theme song played over regular credits, I was about to eject the DVD when the same image came up like it did on the TV, but this time it failed to scare me. I almost immediately returned to ejecting the disc. I sat there trying to complain what happened. It was obvious that it was fake, and whoever tracked down my location made this to scare me or whoever else watched it. But why? Is this some sort of threat? Were they stalking me? I called the police down and explained everything. When they arrived, I showed them the episode. Though they instantly suspected that I may have set them mess when they did further investigation. Anyway, before they left, I found a note inside the disc case that said I didn't notice before. I thought. That is our only release. It read. Needless to say, they took the note too. Before the police showed up, I kept a few screenshots and saved it to my laptop. Next couple of days went past without anything unusual happening. Thankfully, I had a few mild nightmares about the video, but luckily that was it. My cousin had gone back home along with the rest of the family. I even had anything like this. I haven't had anything like this happen to my family to me since, but I still think about this incident a lot.